Welcome to this explainer. Okay, so today we're tackling something that traditionally gives small business owners, well, a mild panic attack. Honestly, upgrading your computer or moving your accounting over to the cloud, it can kind of feel like playing Russian roulette with your business, but we're going to flip that script today. Upgrading your hardware shouldn't feel like a threat. Instead, we're going to look at this as an essential, highly structured playbook for securing your business's future. We're talking about achieving a flawless QuickBooks migration.
Let's just validate that feeling right out of the gate, shall we? Is moving your business to a new computer genuinely terrifying? Yeah, absolutely. And it makes total sense. One corrupted transfer, one accidental click, and poof, years of your meticulous financial history are just gone. But hey, take a deep breath. Here's the good news. Surviving this hardware upgrade really just comes down to following the exact QuickBooks migration protocol. We are going to completely conquer that anxiety by sticking to the specific blueprints laid out by the software itself. We'll make sure your data makes the jump completely unscathed. To get us there safely, we've got a super clear roadmap for today. First up, preparing for the move. Second, moving to a new PC. Third, switching from desktop to online. Fourth, reconnecting your bank. And finally, keeping your data secure.
All right, let's jump right into Section 1, preparing for the move and gathering your intel. Because look, you absolutely cannot start a migration without having the keys to the castle. Preparation is literally everything here.
So, before you even think about touching a flash drive, you need your product and license numbers. Those are absolutely critical for the new install. The fastest way to get them? Just open up your current QuickBooks Desktop and hit that F2 key. Boom, your product information window pops up and your license number is sitting right there. Now, if your old computer is completely dead and you can't open the software, don't panic. As long as you registered your product, you can just log into your camp's online portal to grab it. Or if you bought a digital download, do a quick search in your inbox. That original purchase confirmation email is your golden ticket.
And this brings us to a massively important rule about data formats. Basically, your everyday live work happens in what's called a QBW file. But listen to me, you never ever want to transport a live, open file across machines. It's asking for trouble. For safe transport, you've got to convert that QBW into a compressed, locked QBB backup file. Think of it like packing up your most delicate china in heavy-duty bubble wrap before you toss it in the back of the moving truck. It just locks everything down so it actually survives the trip.
Moving right along to Section 2, moving to a new PC. This is that classic desktop-to-desktop leap. We're going to hand the heavy lifting right over to the automated QuickBooks Migrator tool using a physical USB flash drive.
Now, what's really fascinating here is looking at the tool's intentional blind spots. It's an incredibly smart tool. It'll automatically grab the last 3 company files you opened, plus your custom templates, directly onto your USB drive. But notice what it doesn't copy: your multi-user setups and your payroll logins. And guys, this is not a glitch. It actually strips those out on purpose. It's a strict security protocol to protect your highly sensitive data. You'll be forced to manually reconnect those on the new machine. Why? So that if you happen to drop or lose that USB drive, you aren't handing a total stranger the keys to your employees' bank accounts. Make sense?
Okay, but what happens if you plug that USB into your shiny new machine and it crashes right in the middle of the transfer? It actually happens a lot with massive company files, and it usually just means you're hitting a Windows system block. So here is your manual override to make that panic completely disappear. First up, make sure your USB drive is formatted to NTFS. It just handles large files way better. Then, instead of waiting for the tool to auto-launch, go ahead and manually open the flash drive. Find a file called move_quickbooks.bat. Right-click it and select Run as Administrator. This basically bypasses those strict Windows security guards and forces the migration to push through flawlessly. Honestly, no IT degree required for that one.
All right, shifting gears to Section 3, switching desktop to online, the cloud transition. Making this specifically requires a bit of a mindset shift. So, the crucial point here is managing your expectations before you hit export. Desktop and online have totally different database architectures, which means you're dealing with strict limits. Before you migrate, do yourself a favor. Hit Ctrl+1 on your keyboard and check your total targets. That number absolutely must be under 750,000 for a smooth move to the cloud. On top of that, you really need to watch out for character limits. Customer and company names will get abruptly chopped off if they're over 41 characters, and email addresses max out at 81. Knowing these limits ahead of time means you won't freak out when you see unexpectedly shortened customer names in your brand new cloud dashboard.
Okay, on to Section 4, reconnecting your bank and restoring those feeds. Because once your software is successfully moved, whether to a new laptop or up into the cloud, your data is safe, but it's totally isolated. We have to manually repair our connections to the outside world.
Whether you just did a hardware move or maybe your bank went through a system conversion like Tompkins Community Bank did recently, your transaction feeds are always going to require a manual reset. The system actually breaks the connection intentionally to keep things secure during the transition. You simply won't receive any new banking data until you re-authenticate.
So here is the exact sequence to restore your Direct Connect bank feeds without totally messing up your books. First, open your chart of accounts. Second, right-click the specific account you want to activate and choose Edit Account. Third, click that Bank Feed Settings tab. And finally, put in your Direct Connect credentials. Now, huge tip right here. Your Direct Connect customer ID might actually be entirely different from the login you use when you check your bank on a web browser. If it keeps failing, just call your bank. Oh, and most importantly, when matching the accounts, never ever click Create New Account unless you actually want a blank register. Always link it back to your existing account so you don't lose your history.
We have covered some pretty meticulous, slightly tedious protocols today, which brings us to our final section. Keeping your data secure. We're entering the vault. Why does all this protocol actually matter? Because the security of your financial history is literally non-negotiable.
When you migrate to a new system, especially if you move to the cloud, you are stepping into a highly secure vault. Intuit really leans on a few massive security pillars. We're talking forced complex passwords, firewall-protected servers, and the exact same encryption tech used by the top global banks. But my absolute favorite feature? The read-only bank connection feed. Once you re-authenticate, QuickBooks creates a one-way street. It can read the data to save you hours of manual typing, but the software fundamentally cannot process payments or extract personal info back out. It's like a completely secure one-way mirror. Beyond the software itself, the actual physical location of your migrated data is fiercely protected too. Your cloud data lives on Amazon Web Services, good old AWS. It's surrounded by multiple physical and network layers, and it's constantly backed up for redundancy. So if a single server randomly fails somewhere, you won't even notice. Plus, it is localized right to your home country to strictly satisfy some very complex data residency laws. So you're not just moving your files around, you are massively upgrading their physical and digital armor.
If you followed this playbook, you are going to open that new hardware or log into your online portal and find your financial dashboard running like an absolute dream. Every single historical record perfectly intact. The anxiety totally gone. But it does leave us with one final, slightly provocative question. Now that you have this fresh, perfectly migrated foundation with your data locked down tight and your feeds running on automation, are you really taking full advantage of this new setup to aggressively grow your business? Your data is finally secure. Now, it's time to put it to work.